Well, good afternoon, Central Georgia. It is downright hot outside. We already have feels like temperatures 110 degrees in some spots. I'll show you that later in the forecast. But of course, with the high heat and with how strong the temperatures are, that's already enough to warrant a weather impact alert, just like how we issued it yesterday. However, we're considering also the potential for storms later this evening that has the chance to be strong to severe. So that's why we have the weather impact alert for both of those things. Let me show you that more in detail. So the weather impact alert is for the majority of today. So for the rest of the day today, dangerous heat index values that can reach 110 degrees. And we're already seeing it in some spots here in Central Georgia. And then, of course, the chance for evening storms that will be strong to severe. And with strong to severe storms, the main threat will be gusty to damaging winds that can produce gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. And we're also looking at the potential for hail producers, so storms that could produce hail of up to an inch in diameter. Here's a look at the sky cameras all across Central Georgia. Actually, a partly cloudy day. Pleasant so far in terms of the skies. Of course, not the temperatures. That's far from pleasant. Let's look at the current number in Macon, 96 degrees. And you can notice the feels like temperatures already reaching 107 degrees. Thankfully, the winds are a little light coming in from the north at 5 miles per hour. Looking at the temperatures all across the southeast, it's hot all across the United States. Actually, throughout the entirety of the eastern half of the United States, they're dealing with high temperatures, except with Houston. They're seeing temperatures in the lower 80s. However, we have places such as Nashville, we have Montgomery, 94 degrees, 96 degrees, of course, here in Macon, 97 degrees in Panama City, 92 degrees in Washington, and 95 degrees in Virginia Beach, 98 in Charlotte. So this is all due to a heat dome. What does that mean? It's an extended area of high pressure, and with high pressure, it compresses the air and it makes it sink. So it makes the high temperatures feel more intense than what it usually feels like in the summertime. So let's look more in depth into Central Georgia. 97 degrees in Warner Robins, 97 in Gordon, 97 in Milledgeville, and 97 in Sparta. Just high temperatures, probably the highest temperatures we've seen so far this year. And if we compare this to 24 hours ago, I mean, it was hot yesterday, but we're running a couple degrees warmer than this time yesterday. So 1 to 4 degrees warmer as we compare it to yesterday at around 2 o'clock. So even hotter than the scorching hot conditions that we experienced yesterday afternoon. And the humidity is still there. You notice the dark green all across the board, and that just means muggy conditions. Let me just point to the scale right here. Muggy right here, showing dark green, dew point values into the mid to upper 70s, especially in Gordon, Milledgeville, 77 degrees. And then we have 79 degrees in terms of dew point values in Dublin. So the humidity is still atrocious outside. And of course, that is the reason why these feels like temperatures are way higher than the actual temperatures. So I mentioned earlier, some spots are having heat index values at 110 degrees. So Eatonton, 110, Sparta, 110, Milledgeville, 112. And then of course, Gordon. Let's pray for Gordon because they're experiencing 116 degrees feels like temperatures. It is more like an inferno rather than a normal summer day in Gordon. That's just downright terrible. Dublin, 112 degrees and 106 degrees in Butler. All of Central Georgia are experiencing over 100-degree feels like temperatures. And that was the reason why we were under a heat advisory today by the National Weather Service. And it was for the potential of feels like temperatures reaching 109 degrees, but some spots are already overshooting this number, especially Gordon. They have feels like temperatures reaching 116 degrees. So definitely warranted given the conditions that we're experiencing right now. So that is the first part of that weather impact alert, the high temperatures and the extreme feels like temperatures. But then we have the second part, which is the potential for storms. Here's a look at the satellite radar showing quiet weather as of right now, nothing on the board. But if we zoom out towards the northeast, just north of Stanford, around Raleigh. That's where some storms are firing up at the current moment. And notice their direction. The direction is now pointed towards the southwest, which typically is a little unusual for storms throughout the entire year. Typically storms move from west to east, but these storms are going to come from the northeast and go down towards the southwest towards our direction. So these storms are firing up as we speak in North Carolina, and we're expecting it to organize later this evening and to produce some widespread weather for us later today. So for today, of course, a hot start, and we're experiencing that right now, and we're expecting afternoon highs to be into the upper 90s. I think some spots here in central Georgia could reach triple digits in terms of actual temperatures, but it really doesn't matter because, of course, our feels like temperatures are going to be way higher than that, and they're already atrociously high at the current moment. So looking at the fuchsia view, we could expect maybe some pop-up sprinkles, a pop-up shower or two for the next couple of hours. But of course, the real rain chance comes later in the day. Notice these storms coming from the northeast, heading towards our direction, moving across Augusta at 7 o'clock. Scattered at that moment, but then they seem to congeal together by 9 o'clock as they move through the eastern counties. So places such as Dublin, Johnson County, Hancock County, Washington County, Telfair County, Wheeler County at that moment. 9 o'clock continuing to move westward. 10 o'clock getting into Dodge, Pulaski, Wilcox County, Bleckley County, Twigg County. Getting into Houston by 11, Macon potentially around that time. And then just moving westward into the western counties by that time as well, 11 o'clock. Then by midnight, this model has these storms moving out of our area completely at that time during the midnight hour into the 1 o'clock hour in the morning. And then for tomorrow morning, starting off mostly clear. Tomorrow afternoon, of course, we have the temperatures and you have the humidity in place, so we'll have that classic summertime pattern of pop-up showers and storms. This model is not really showing anything, but of course with the ingredients there is definitely possible. I think the weather will be similar to what we had 2 weeks ago, where the storms just kept on firing up around the 5 to 6 o'clock hour. But we're not expecting anything widespread or organized for tomorrow. We'll get into Friday morning, mostly clear. And then Friday afternoon, there we go. Those pop-up showers and those pop-up storms firing up in the heat of the day, the heart of the afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock, lingering into the evening, 5, 6 o'clock, and then dissipating later at the night around the midnight hour and the early morning hours. Here's a look at another model run. So here's the high-resolution model, and it has these storms firing up in North Carolina as of right now, heading towards our direction later this evening. And the timing with this model is a little later than the graph model. It has it arriving actually later at the night and actually moving into the early morning. So 11 o'clock has it coming into our neck of the woods, midnight affecting us, affecting the southern counties south of I-16 by 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the back end of this cluster continues to move through central Georgia throughout the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, and then dissipating around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So a completely different view of the timing, definitely not matching up in terms of the timing from the high resolution model to the graph model. But I'd say it's more likely that we could see these storms later in the evening, but it's looking more likely that it'll be more in the late night hours, so 9 to 10 o'clock at night. So this is the outlook for today in terms of our severe weather potential. So this is very new. This has just occurred over the past couple of hours. The northeastern counties such as Jasper, Putnam, Hancock, Washington, half of Wilkinson, Baldwin County, and the majority of Jones County, they are within a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather, while the rest of central Georgia is within a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Earlier today, it was just the entirety of central Georgia was just plainly within a level 2, but those northeastern counties got upgraded into a level 3. So what the Storm Prediction Center is thinking is that the counties outlined in a level 3 will be some of the earliest counties to experience these storms. And these storms will be tapping into, of course, the high temperatures and the high humidity, the atmosphere very ripe for strong storms. So they'll have a stronger punch because they'll just have an earlier arrival. But as these storms move through central Georgia, it'll happen into the overnight where these temperatures will continue to cool down and we'll just have a little less steam for these storms to tap into throughout the overnight. So that's the reason why these northeastern counties have a level 3. Now we also have a level 1 for tomorrow for all of central Georgia. And the same thing is true for Friday. All of central Georgia, once again, in a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. I honestly don't think we're going to see anything special. Even though we have the level 1 outline for all of central Georgia, I don't think that the severe weather chances are still high. I say that we could potentially have 1 or 2 storms that could pack a punch and maybe produce 1 warning or 2, but I'm not expecting a severe weather threat from any of these days. So this includes tomorrow and Friday. I just say tomorrow and Friday, expect a normal summer day where you could just have some hit or miss showers and maybe some storms that could pack a punch, but they'll just be very short-lived in nature, nothing widespread like the storms that we could experience later tonight. Here's the temperatures for the next couple of days. Today is expected to be the hottest day of the year, and it looks like it's going to verify. We're already having temperatures, of course, in the mid-90s. I think we could be into the upper 90s, and some spots could actually be in the triple digits. Feels like temperatures atrocious. Thankfully, tomorrow we'll have a little bit of a relief. We'll have temperatures drop down to the lower 90s. However, the humidity is still going to be high, and I'll show you that with the upcoming graphic. So it feels like temperatures are still going to be over triple digits for most of central Georgia. And the low 90s should continue for the rest of the week, even heading into the start of the new week on Sunday. Here's a look at the humidity over the next couple of days too. Notice still going to be humid. We're not going to have anything that's going to set us back in terms of humidity levels. We're going to have dew point values range from the upper 60s to the lower 70s, which is, in simpler terms, going from very muggy to humid conditions all throughout the next couple of days. So, of course, with that summertime humidity in place, those feels like temperatures are still going to persist all throughout this week and potentially into next week. Now, here is some safety tips for the heat. Of course, today is the worst day for the heat probably this year so far. So if you were planning to go do some errands or go anywhere outside, please do not leave any of your pets or children in your vehicles because the heat gets more intense within your car. And of course, drink plenty of water. We want you to stay hydrated, and staying hydrated is the best way to prevent anything heat related in terms of heat stroke or heat exhaustion. And wear sunscreen. UV indexes are high, so you could potentially have some sunburns if you don't cover them without any sunscreen. And of course, protective clothing. It's best to have any long sleeve shirts just to cover you from the sun as well. Here's the look at the weather impact alert more in depth. So this is all day Wednesday for the rest of the day. This is for heat index values that can reach 109 degrees, but of course we're already seeing heat index values reach higher values than this. And of course the potential for evening and night storms that could cause some gusty winds and the chance for some strong to severe storms. So winds that could reach up to 60 miles per hour. The need, of course, for the heat stay near an air conditioning site. Turn up your air conditioning at home. And for later tonight, just have a way to receive alerts. And if you hear thunder roar, head indoors. It's best just to stay inside, especially with the threat of gusty winds. So that's the overview of our weather impact alert that has been issued earlier today. Of course, with the high heat, the strong temperatures, it's best to stay hydrated. But with these storms coming in later tonight, have a way to receive alerts. We'll be here if there's any warnings. Ben Jones will be here with severe weather coverage, and he'll also have more details about the storms coming up at our 5 o'clock show later today. But it's been a pleasure informing you, and hopefully you stay safe throughout the day. Thank you.